an online workshop on effective functioning of internal complaint committees. That is from university. It was in the year 2022, and in 2023 we have already organized two online workshop for all the affiliated colleges of Rani Channamma University. And today, this workshop has been organized online, and thanks to CDC of RCU, the director, for collaborating, so that it will be more effective, and it will definitely help for the preparation of LIC. And today, here we are more focusing on effective functioning of internal complaint committee. That is how to form and what is the process will be during the workshop. You will be educated and given information about the ICC functioning. At the outset, I would welcome one and all today who have joined online, and it's very great pleasure for us. Like we have Professor C.M. Tagras, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rani Channamma University, for joining with us for the inaugural address. I first and foremost welcome sir. In spite of all busy schedules, sir is with us. Sir, I welcome you for this workshop, sir. And of course, the administrative permissions and other process has been done by the all know him, Santosh sir, KS senior grade, registrar of our university. I also welcome him today. And we have here Professor Ravindranath Kadam sir, who is Registrar Evaluation, and Srimati Sapna madam, who is a Finance Officer of our Rani Channamma University. I also welcome both of them. And we have here the convener of the online workshop, Professor Ashok K. D'Souza, who is a Director for CDC. I welcome Ashok sir also. And organizing secretary, who is a director of ICC Rani Channamma University, Professor Manisha Nesarkar madam. I also welcome her. I also welcome all the members of ICC. I also welcome all the principals, coordinator who have joined this workshop. Definitely it will be a fruitful outcome for you, because we will be having interaction, and also Dr. Ashok sir will be there to clarify your doubts, and it will be like participatory workshop. I welcome one and all who are joined here. Thank you one and all, and welcome one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Devata Gastidi madam, for welcoming the gathering. Now, I would like to request our beloved Honorable Vice Chancellor to present the inaugural address. Sir? Sir is busy over the phone. Now I request. Sir, I would like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to present the inaugural address.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dear Dr. D'Souza, Dr. Devtagasti, Dr. Sushma, and all other friends, and Dr. Manisha, Dr. S.N. Patil, and all other 116, 117 friends joined this afternoon for this inaugural of ICC. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome and also, inaugurate this ICC committee's university level dialogue, and joy for me that at last that we are following the mandate of UGC, that University Grants Commission in its mandate said very clearly that every college should have ICC, Internal Complaints Committee. In the ages of university and also with the CDC, that this is being hosted and hoisted for a better reason. And in the days to come, that is going to be very active. I congratulate Dr. D'Souza and team for having taken the pain to moot certain steps which are required to see that the peace, harmony, friendship, love, and growth is there in university. First and foremost, every college should be peaceful, happy learning place. The growth will happen by 2030 altogether in a different paradigm. If you are not going to understand what's going to happen by 2030, 2040, definitely mankind is going to be in danger. My friends may think that what is going to happen by 2030? Machines are everywhere. Our education is going to become irrelevant. There will be a lot of trauma among you. Every year, the graduates are declining in every institution because of employability issue. That's why a lot of trauma, a lot of social sites, engaged students, and this is what we are observing everywhere. The boys and girls today are different than age-old times. The values are coming down, discipline is coming down, harmony is coming down, peace is coming down. That's why it's an appropriate time for all the principals and colleagues in each and every college to think on how to make our students life-centric, growth-centric, and progressive-centric. Yoga, meditation, brotherlyhood, caring one another, going for a great cause are need of the hour. Internal Complaints Committee should care student community, number one. Faculty should be happy with their responsibility. Faculty should encourage students, motivate students. They should become the center of development, knowledge development. If faculty fail to bring in that harmony among student community, the purpose of higher education is going to be defeated. That's why I earnestly request all principals and faculty to care students like their own children. They are children, they are our children. We should care them. If we don't care, what is going to happen to them? Because mentoring is required, training is required, skilling is required. Making our students to live happily alone gives us happiness. If we don't care the happiness of our students, who else are going to care? Their parents are poor, their parents are vulnerable, they are less educated. They require a platform. The education is a platform. Knowledge is a platform. Skill is a platform. And all your services are going to make them very strong. That's why Internal Complaints Committee should take into account the attendance of students, the regularity, learning. All these things are must. And also at the same time, there are some students in some colleges who are little miscreants. We should handle them because they are in the adult age. Okay. It is a teenage, ripe teenage. They may send ugly messages, bad messages, and also women harassment issues. All such things should not happen in this platform. That's why UGC has taken all these things and gave an appropriate mandate that every institution should have ICC. I'm very happy to hear that under the leadership of Dr. D'Souza, Ashok D'Souza, that this initiative is going to play a major role among all our 361 colleges. I congratulate all the principals for having taken this initiative and also appropriately make reports which we have to send to university with through Rani Channamma University. My best wishes to the whole team to do well, emerge successful. Let students enjoy the journey of learning and growing to achieve the lasting success in life. My best wishes to RCU team. They always do the best things for one and all. So my team RCU needs to be richly praised for their cause of working hard on this ICC. All the entire chairman and committee should care the whole work around. And whenever the grievances emerge in any college, let this committee, our core committee at RCU, can visit, can take stock of, and solve the problems. My best wishes to all of you. Continue the meeting, and Dr. D'Souza and team will continue for the next deliberations. My best wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you, our beloved Vice Chancellor, sir, for his inspiring inaugural address. Thank you, sir. We are really grateful to you for your inaugural address. Now, I would like to request Professor Ashok D'Souza, sir, to give inputs on ICC.
Namaste everyone. Elrigo namaskara. First of all, I'd like to place on record our greatest appreciation for our supportive, very dynamic Vice Chancellor, Professor C.M. Tyagaraja. And as Devata Gasti Madam said, this is the third workshop conducted by Internal Complaints Committee of our university. Actually, it has been formed for our university, but they have taken this initiative to join hands with us, College Development Council, so that as far as UGC's vision of reaching out to all the students and employees in all the affiliated colleges which are known, whether it is university or college, the UGC calls them as higher educational institutions. So all the colleges also are covered under that. And in this backdrop, we hope that the colleges, at least based on the earlier two workshops, have proactively formed, first of all, formed internal complaints committees. And through these committees, although the name is complaints, it is the complaint and redressal of the grievances is only one of the functions. It's an important function, but is one of the functions alone. What is more important is trying to create a very conducive environment right from the time of admissions till the students and if it is employees, that their exit takes place from the successfully takes place from the organization or the college. So as far as I want to just highlight why this kind of UGC or before that the kind of honorable courts thought of this particular sexual harassment prevention and monitoring and redressal and all these things. Since you're all principals and the professors, whether you are professor by designation or associate professor or assistant professor, doesn't matter. But since you are involved in some capacity as actually it is not the coordinator, it is the presiding officer as per the act as well as regulations. But just now, in order to avoid the confusion, we have just asked whoever is the coordinator or whoever is the chairperson of the committee to also take part. Since you are all learned people, we know that basically not just in India, all over the world, throughout the civilization, this patriarchy is the overall the system which has been there in existence, which has created a negative mindset as far as women are concerned. So that is the problem, the root cause for gender disparity. Then looking at women not as persons, more as objects, and not allowing them to have control over their decisions, like what kind of education, how much education, whether to marry or not marry, whom to marry, and whether to have children or when to have children, or all these things phasing of between the children, all these things. So now when it comes to workplace also, all these issues because of a narrow socialization, which is basically based on the patriarchal mindset. So which is the overall the problem as far as society is concerned, because whether it is students or employees, basically they hail from some family, some kind of narrow socialization, which is primarily based on the patriarchal system where men are privileged, men have a lot of rights, women are considered as subordinates and are supposed to accept whatever is meted out to them by men. So this is the overall system which we need to fight. Why I am saying all this is because when it comes to ICC or women development cells, it is not just taking complaints and making inquiry into it and coming out with recommendations, which is important. Trying to educate the students as well as and trying to see to it that overall, even in the away from patriarchal system to more of equity based, gender equity based, non-discriminatory kind of systems, then alone these kind of anti-sexual harassment committees or the laws and regulations and all these things will become irrelevant and things of the past. So this has resulted in various, this kind of patriarchy has resulted in discrimination and violence, as I told you. And these practices, we should know, are a violation of three important, the fundamental rights which are enshrined in our Indian Constitution, Article 14, which is actually, which says that all are equal before the law, irrespective of religion, sex, then caste or place of birth. And also Article 15, which prohibits any type of discrimination based on all these grounds. And Article 21, which upholds the right to life and right to live with dignity, which includes even livelihood, the choice of profession and workplace. That is the reason in workplace also we need to see to it that there is violence-free and equity-based kind of policies and practices. And you know that side by side, the Indian Constitution, the entire discussion and dialogue of human rights, which is for which all the countries are expected to bring about the laws and as well as the policies and practices which consider everyone as equal right from birth, okay, right from this one, which are universal in their nature and inalienable. So this also is the basis based on which these kind of acts and regulations have been carried out. Another, we know that before this, the sexual harassment, the Prohibition of Sexual Harassment Act was passed. The major milestone was Vishaka Guidelines. So this was actually the act for 2013 is actually in some way based on the Vishaka Guidelines, where the Vishaka and others versus state of Rajasthan and others, the Supreme Court in this particular case listed certain guidelines where the employer, for example, was supposed to take the responsibility to right from to kind of see to it that the policies and regulations of the organization do not discriminate, as also give safety as on some kind of safety and security to women and especially the if it is the educational institutions, the lady students, and also laid down process was laid down as to how exactly, because instead of going directly to the court of law, that they had a recourse immediately in the place of work. So there are also the responsibility to see to it that women feel safe in the organization, the women feel that they have got equal opportunity. All these things actually are there in the Vishaka Guidelines, which once again can be found as far as the prevention and prohibition and redressal of sexual harassment of women at workplace. This act in 2013. Basic object of this particular act is to provide a safe and secure environment for women at the workplace. And as far as based on this particular act, now the UGC has come out with a committee, formed a committee which had submitted a draft regulations and which has been accepted and notified the Gazette of Government of India, which was done in December 2015. So this particular act is known as regulations is known as the University Grants Commission Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal of Sexual Harassment of Women Employees and Students in Higher Educational Institutions Regulations 2015. So this is nothing but applying whatever are the provisions of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition, Redressal Act 2013, specifically to the higher educational institutions in India. So a multi-pronged approach has been suggested by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So first of all, women's issues cannot be seen in isolation. For example, it is not just the responsibility of women to fight for their rights. It is the responsibility of everyone, right from our families to the employers to our colleagues to everyone. And more responsibility lies with men, because men are more privileged. Men are the ones who are heading most of the institutions. And in these days, when for the first time women are coming out from their homes to various workplaces. And when it comes to educational scenario also, only in the recent past, only in the recent decades, the numbers, the percentage of women pursuing higher education is in the rise, and they need to be there in all the professional courses also. And whatever was considered as only male dominated or the workplaces or the professional courses which are mainly kind of favoring men should more and more be open to women also. So based on these kinds of multi-pronged approach, for example, it is not just a punitive approach, it also expects us to educate more and more, train, even in the process of conducting inquiries. If it is a, let's say, male student, as Honorable Vice Chancellor said, maybe they have a lot of talent, just because of narrow socialization, just because of the peers, the hostelers who are there with that particular person, or maybe due to various other kind of reasons, that boy would have committed something which is considered as sexual harassment as far as this regulations is concerned. But this can, if found that the person was not done it with that kind of intention, and the person needs education, needs to educate that person during the process also, and also to conduct proactively preventive educative kind of measures. So a lot of women, Ministry of Women and Child Development also has come out with a lot of guidelines, especially since now we are actually the period right from 25th of November till 10th of December, tomorrow, Human Rights Day, till 10th of December, and 25th of December, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. So for the entire period, in whatever has to be done in the higher education department has been prescribed by the Ministry for Women and Child Development. So it is not just single receiving of the complaints and trying to come out with inquiry and recommendations, but multi-pronged approach which is considered as a necessity. So when it comes to various aspects covered under, now I'm coming directly to the regulations of the UGC notified in the year 2015. So here the definition of sexual harassment is not what we usually envisage as sexual harassment. It is very broad because many a time whatever is neglected in the initially as something very frivolous may result in a very serious kind of harassment if it is neglected in the initial stages. That's why and it may also impede the educational process of the student, or if it is a employed in higher education, a teacher, or whether it is guest faculty or whoever. So that's why this is very broadly defined. It includes one or more of the following unwelcome acts or behavior, whether it is done directly or it is implied, because sometimes men to test the lady student or so on, whether they react adversely or if they are at least silent, they may not directly say something, they may do it indirectly through some code words or whatever. But if it is neglected, then tomorrow they may be emboldened and they may try to do more of the direct kind of activities which may be considered as a sexual harassment. So first one is physical contact or advances, which is more of direct, or a demand or request for sexual favors, or making sexually colored remarks, like what we call as what is that double this is what we call as double meaning kind of one. This is also can be considered as which, although it is not directly doesn't have those kind of words, but if it is sexually colored, means what we try to use some kind of symbols or code words which under which we may think we can take shelter, but actually under this act, even that is defined as a sexual harassment. Showing pornography or saying that showing pornography doesn't mean directly showing. It may be you are acting as if you are watching, and indirectly you are ensuring that if there is a lady student or someone behind, he or she happens to watch it and all that, and you may be trying to see their response. So that also is considered as harassment. harassment, and any other unwelcome physical, anything which is because most of the students who are studying are all 18 and above. So we may think they are adults, so we have the consent and all that. But if they feel that it is unwelcome, whether physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct, whatever is shown in terms of postures and gestures, even that is considered as a sexual harassment as far as this regulation is concerned. So no one needs to have any confusion as far as it is concerned. Why it is very important for us to have all clarities? Because based on this definition, all the complaints and inquiries and recommendations, and even if it goes to court of law tomorrow, then based on this definition alone, it will be contested, not based on, we cannot say that we are not aware, we thought that this is not covered under that. So we need to sensitize and educate all our colleagues as well as students regarding this. The following circumstances, among other circumstances, if it occurs or is present in relation to or connected with any act or behavior of sexual harassment, may amount to sexual harassment. Implied or explicit promise of preferential treatment in her employment, saying that if you are favorable to me, then I will be favorable to you. This kind of preferential promises. Implied or explicit threat. So one is promise, another is threat, saying that if you don't cooperate or if you disclose something, then I will use my influence or position of power to see to it that your career is destroyed or you are demoted or your marks are reduced or these kind of things. Implied or explicit threat about her present or future employment status. So saying that you will not be promoted or whatever promotion is due may be delayed or whatever. So interfere and the status overall, that whatever positions a person is supposed to get, you are saying that just because she is not cooperating with you, she may not get it because you are in a power of position. Interference with her work or creating an intimidating or offensive or hostile work environment, asking someone not to mingle with her, to keeping that person away from various committees or various works that are usually given to everyone on rotation basis or in a democratic, inclusive manner, or humiliating treatment likely to affect her health or safety. So indirectly passing some remarks or making your friends and colleagues to make it anything that affects the health and safety and such other overall work environment where the employee and the student are supposed to work or study with dignity, with free mind. All that is covered under the definition of sexual harassment. Now, what is this campus? The concept of workplace is there defined in the Act. But when it comes to higher educational institutions, the place campus replaces the place workplace. Campus is not just the physical campus where it is located. It may be even during the transportation, commuting, or if it is field trips that are organized, hostels or playgrounds, or when the students are taken to other let's say district ground or other places, whatever is organized by the education institution, all that is covered under campus. Whatever happens in the campus is covered under these particular regulations. So employee, who is an employee? It is not just the permanent employees, it may be temporary employees, it may be kind of the research scholars or any other people who are asked to engage some classes or whatever. So anyone who comes as, let's say, to deliver a lecture or whatever, in whatever capacity, all those are, even if they are visitors, they are considered as employees. And student, who is a student? Student is not the one who has got a register number. Student is, it can be also those who are in the process of applying. Okay, they have come, let's say, to just seek information, to collect, let's say, prospectus or some information. They may be prospective students, but if such incident takes place during that process, then that person should be treated as a student. And even when they are going to field trip, let's say students of some other institution, if you have organized a seminar or something, they have come to take part, or any sports or cultural event that you have hosted. So you cannot say that, okay, you are a student of so-and-so college, so you go and file complaint to your internal complaints committee there. No, it is a responsibility to the employer. Who is the employer here? it's a principle as far as college is concerned. There is no doubt. You cannot say that chairman of the society or trust or the management is the employer. So this other definitions you can go at length. As far as the regulations you can download, we are also going to circulate to you the copy of the regulations downloaded from the UGC portal or website. So there are certain responsibilities of the higher educational institutions, especially the principals. Okay, why it is important for, why is the regulation speaking of responsibilities of higher education institutions rather than speaking only about the formation of ICC and how the process is, one complaint has to be filed and how it has to be handled and all that. It is because you know that when it comes to the act or the regulations, it is the prevention and also the trying to see to it that there is a proper education regarding this entire particular process, and later alone redressal. So redressal alone is not the final objective. That's why you have to create a very enabling environment, right from forming the policies to having some kind of supportive measures. So what are the different responsibilities of the principals in the higher education institutions? So first of all, we need to have policies and regulations where this is prohibited very clearly, not as we want, just as it is there in the regulations and the act. So that has to be incorporated into all the policies, and it has to be made very clear that there is a zero tolerance as far as the sexual harassment is concerned, and whoever engages, not according to our understanding, but as per the definition of this particular act and regulations, that action will be initiated, and the persons who are perpetrators of this kind of harassment will be brought to book, no matter how talented they are, how important they are, how powerful they are. So secondly, publicly notify the provisions against sexual harassment and ensure their wide dissemination. So students during the orientation program, they have to be also told about this. Then the employees also have to be told, and from time to time, all occasions have to be, it has to be there, right? Just as we display the anti-ragging policy, this anti-sexual harassment policy also has to be, and also it has to be made very clear that this is the ICC committee formed, and these are the kind of roles and responsibilities of the committee, and this is the process to file complaint. These are the punishment which may be meted out to those in case it is found that so and so has perpetrated or attempted to perpetrate some kind of harassment to any of the persons, again whether it is employees or students who are covered under this particular regulations or act. And then also they have to organize training programs to sensitize workshops to various officers, functionaries, faculty and students, as indicated Saksham report. So there is a Saksham portal which is exclusively for to fight this sexual harassment at the higher educational institutions. So there is a report which also will be circulated to you. So all the kind of measures for ensuring safety of women and programs for gender sensitization on campuses, this has to be conducted by the employer. It can be done in collaboration with ICC. ICC is not restricted only for taking complaints and so on. Also, you need to in addition to that, earlier what we used to call as women empowerment cells, now these days it is known as women development cells. Those also can be separately constituted, and they can also be given these kind of responsibilities. And what is most important and what is not happening, I'm not saying when I'm speaking all these things, you need not think that, okay, university is functioning perfectly and everything is good with the university. This is our collective responsibility. We are also in the process of doing these things. So we have to act decisively against all gender-based violence perpetrated against employees and students of all sexes, recognizing that primarily women employees and students and some male students and students of the third gender are vulnerable. So we have to show in action that there is a zero tolerance as far as sexual harassment concerned. Sometimes it can happen to male students also, especially in male hostels, because women are not available there, but it's a campus. So some vulnerable male student may be also misused or some remarks may be passed which are covered under sexual harassment as well. There may be the male students also may be experiencing, or even persons of the third gender. So it is our responsibility to sensitize that they also have the right to their identity, and they have to be respected, and their dignity has to be protected. So when it comes to we have to show that there is a zero tolerance policy towards sexual harassment. Then we have to reinforce our commitment to campus free from discrimination, harassment, retaliation, or sexual assault. So discrimination, although may not directly look like sexual harassment, actually that is the ground reason based on which harassment takes place. Just because women are discriminated against in terms of right from our houses to neighborhoods to this one, that men dare to look at them as sexual objects or people without power who are vulnerable, who can be a kind of who can be meted with these kind of attitudes and these kind of acts and these kind of gestures and this kind of language. So create an awareness. This is also the responsibility of the principals to create an awareness about what constitutes sexual harassment, because many students may not know, both in the hostels and other places. And include in its prospectus, whatever is given in the beginning as a prospectus when they come for admission, there itself it has to be in the, because many times if they know that this is an offense and there is a system to deal with it, then it acts as a deterrent. Otherwise, people may think that okay, anything is fine. As far as we are not caught, we are not going to be kind of there is no punishment or no kind of action going to be taken against us. So there is also about internal complaints committee, information has to be on the portals and should be displayed. Who is the presiding officer, who are the members. Complaints procedure has to be also clearly stated, and any existing whatever, if you have some other body, let's say as women empowerment cell alone, this you have to have an internal complaints committee, but as per the composition that I'm going to tell you. Okay, then these are various kind of proactive measures that even you have to as a misconduct. Okay, misconduct based on which you may suspend an employee, you're a student, you may dismiss, you may demote, you may take any other kind of action, because once it is termed as a misconduct, or disciplinary rules, in the disciplinary rules of the institution also, college also, you can include in the prospectus and others. So after taking due permission from your whatever committees that are responsible for framing and notifying the policies and regulations. So, and also monitoring whether the ICC is doing its work, whether they are receiving complaints, whether they are dealing with the complaints as per the timeline that is stipulated. Then prepare an annual status report. Whenever university asks or whenever UGC asks, you should be ready with the annual report of previous academic year. So these are, and also have to have supportive measures like you should see to it that there is, for example, the regular and half-yearly review, and hostels have to be there for ladies, especially counseling services have to be there. Then transportation facilities, the adequate lighting has to be there for safety of women. Then there has to be women's hostel to the extent possible with women wardens. So these are all conducive, supportive kind of measures, which also are very important as far as the employer's responsibilities are concerned. These are all the responsibility of the principals. As far as the university is concerned, is the registrar, who is the executive authority. As far as colleges are concerned, it is the principals who are supposed to expected to do this. And now what is the regressal? Let me tell you about the composition of ICC and grievance redressal mechanism. So to do the redressal of the complaints, there has to be first of all a internal complaints committee constituted as per the act and regulations. So what is the composition of ICC, internal complaints committee? So first there has to be a presiding officer who can be a presiding officer. As far as colleges are concerned, professor or associate professor, because there may not be professors, associate professor or reader, now they are known as associate professors at the educational institution nominated by the principal. If there are more than one associate professors, then whoever has the greatest commitment and sensitivity towards these issues, whoever is a little bold, such people have to be nominated by the principal. Now, in case there is no, in some colleges there may not be associate professors, then you may think of some administrative from some units of the workplace, or in case in the entire workplace there is no lady who is suitable to be presiding officer, then from any other relating organizations of that particular, let's say, the organization which is running, if it is a trust or the society, whoever is there in even neighboring other organizations, whoever is suitable to be the presiding officer has to be nominated by the principal as the presiding officer. And 2 faculty members and 2 non-teaching employees have to be nominated. Then 3 students, if the matter involves students, only when the matter involves students, then they have to also be given representation, 3 students, and 1 member from amongst non-governmental organizations or associations committed to the cause. So from the other than organization, because sometimes what happens is, if the people, everyone is from the organization, within the organization, sometimes the powerful people within the organization may try to influence negatively, since the employment of the employees and the students kind of well, their marks and other things also may be at stake. That's why there may be some kind of fear, and they may not feel as well. Whenever there is a civil society representation, then the committee gets really emboldened, because that is so they should be empowered. So that is where now only the condition is, it is okay. Just give me a minute. Yeah. It is shared. So just can you just check if it is going well? You can ask someone to join and see if it is going well. Is it visible, madam?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. So now, as far as the committee is concerned, only condition is, first of all, you know that when it comes to presiding officer, it has to be the female lady. For others, they have not specified whether it is a male or female. When it comes to the NGOs, it has to be lady. So overall composition, out of 7, let's say, members, at least 5 have to be, one half of the total numbers of the ICC shall be women. That is what is said here. Just give me 1 second. There is some problem as far as sharing of the PowerPoint is concerned. Leave it, madam. Is it coming?
If it is displayed, anybody can answer.
Leave it, madam. Yeah. Okay. As well as far as the redressal of the complaint is, so let's say now ICC is there, is doing its job, and it is displayed everywhere. It is in the website, both the Regulations Act as well as the ICC composition. Now, what is the kind of mechanism that is there as far as this regulations is concerned for dealing with any kind of a complaint? Okay. So first, once the complaint is received, we have to find out the nature of the complaint. If it is very grievous, very urgent and so on, then the ICC may help that particular person to file a complaint with the police to register a FIR. Okay, if they feel that it can be handled within the organization, then they may take it in writing. If the person is not able to take it, give it in writing, then they may help the person to also draft and register the complaint. And also, let's say the complaint need not be directly from the aggrieved person. It can be from anyone, a friend, a classmate, parents, or anyone. So such complaints also have to be, especially if the person is not in a position because of the trauma, or let's say the person has left and gone, or person is no more, or not in a condition to file a complaint, then others also can file a complaint. So complaint has to be taken, and their safety of the complainant has to be protected, their confidentiality, privacy has to be maintained. It should not be breached throughout the entire process, and should be seen to it that they are not victimized for giving the complaint and not discriminated against during that entire process of the inquiry, and ensure prohibition of retaliation of or adverse kind of action. So if there is any possibility of the person who is against whom the complaint is received, then if that person is in some powerful position, if the person feels threatened and so on, the person may be transferred to demoted for a temporary basis, or removed, transferred, or all these provisions are actions are possible, or that recommendations can be immediately made by the internal complaints committee to the employer. And another possibility is, in case we feel that there is the person also who has filed complaint is open for conciliation, and there is no very grave kind of action or harassment, and then if the person is open, then conciliation can also be thought of in the initial phase if committee feels that this is the case for conciliation. Otherwise, they may proceed with the process of making complaint and the entire dealing with that. So what is the process of conducting the inquiry? It is something like domestic inquiry, what is known as domestic inquiry, as far as the companies or organizations are concerned. Similar kind of in keeping with the jurisprudence and the whatever the process laid down in the law, in that kind of manner alone it has to be conducted. So there is receipt of the complaint, as they should send a copy of the complaint to the respondent against whom the complaint has been raised, and that person has to be issued a show cause notice and has to be asked to give the reply within there is a timeline for everything. Within 7 days that person has to give the reply, and upon the receipt of the copy of the complaint and how exactly to serve the complaint, all that is once again as per the whatever is laid down in the law. Okay, so whether if the employee is there working and so on, or the student is there, then it may be directly served and acknowledgement may be taken, and otherwise it may be served through email or through a registered post and all that. Ensure that the person has got the communication, and upon receipt of the copy of the complaint, the respondent shall file his or her reply to the complaint along with the list of documents and names and address of witnesses. In case that person feels that is a false allegation, that whatever incident, place, time that is narrated in the complaint, he feels that that is cooked up, and he has something in his defense where his colleagues or students were also witnesses, then the names of the witnesses along with the documents also can be given in reply to the whatever notice that is served to that particular person. Okay, so and then inquiry has to be completed within a period of 90 days total. Overall 90 days alone is the time given, and the executive authority here, it is the principal, has to shall act on the recommendation of the committee within a period of 30 days. Okay, in case the recommendations are the findings also are not accepted, then they have to write in the record the reason for why it is not being accepted. And once that whatever action the recommendation also is given, both the parties, both the petitioner or complainant as well as respondent, have the freedom to accept or not accept. They can go for a appeal in the court of law, or they can appeal to the authority to reinvestigate, saying that either the committee was not fair they can make a request to reconstitute the committee, or some process was not followed or whatever. So all that recourse also is there, both for the complainant as well as respondent. If the executive authority of the higher education institution decides not to act, they have to record it. As I told you, the aggrieved party may seek conciliation in order to settle the matter. but no monetary settlement should be made as a basis for conciliation. So it will sometimes, if it is done for to see to it that some money can be extracted, then that should not be encouraged. The higher education, it can be given as a punishment. Monetary kind of this one can be specified as a fine or punishment, but for the conciliation, monetary the aspects or money should not be considered at the process of conciliation. The higher education institution shall facilitate a conciliation process through ICC alone, okay, not independent of ICC. Once it is sought, only if it is conciliation should be done only with the request and the kind of acceptance of both the parties. It should not be imposed on them. The resolution of the conflict to the full satisfaction of the aggrieved party wherever possible is preferred to purely punitive intervention. So if there is no conciliation, if there is no, then punitive measures can be thought of. In the entire process, the identities of the aggrieved party or so-called victim, or these days we use the word survivor, or the witnesses also, or the offender, whoever is considered as offender, everyone's because offender is only accused as far as till the inquiry is concerned. Only even once the inquiry report has been submitted, if the person, if he or she challenges that in the court of law, and there is a possibility of that person getting acquitted. So that's where that person's identity and privacy, everything has to be also kept confidential. Now that has to be respected. So there can be interim redressal. So you know that almost 90 days are allowed for the entire process, domestic inquiry, to take place. So during that time, there has to be some kind of justice for the person who feels threatened. So that's where transfer of the complainant or the respondent to another section. Okay, it need not be the respondent alone. If the person who is this one feels that it is better for her to take transfer because it will help her, then that person may seek transfer to minimize the risks involved in the contact or interaction. Based on that, but everything should be based on the recommendation of the ICC. Grant leave if the person requires a grant leave, if it is justified, if the person has leave, that may be also with the full protection of the status and benefits for the up to 3 months, it can be sanctioned. Restrain the respondent from reporting on or evaluating the work. If it's a student, for example, under so and so as well, if the respondent happens to be supervisor or teacher, then you can see it because internal marks and other things may be involved there. So the person that particular student may be placed under someone else's where she feels more safe and secure, preferably lady faculty. That can also be thought of as interim redressal. Ensure the offenders are warned to keep a distance. So this should be very clearly done. So just because so and so has filed a case against you, you are in no way entitled or allowed to somewhere threaten or get into some promise something or try to go for conciliation independent of the ICC and the process laid down. Take strict measures to provide a conducive environment of safety and protection of the complainant against retaliation or victimization. Sometimes if it is students, they may think of acid attacks in the extreme cases or some other humiliation with the help of friends and others. All that is the responsibility of both the executive authority as well as the ICC. So if it is proven that yes, the complaint is correct and the whoever was the respondent is the person who has perpetrated that particular sin, what should be the kind of a punishment and compensation to the person who has been aggrieved. So depending on the situation and depending on whether the aggrieved person is a student or employee and depending on the severity of the offense, it can withhold privileges of the student such as access to library, or if it is a student who has committed the harassment or that particular crime, then auditorium, halls of residence, transportation, scholarships, allowance, and identity card, depending on what kind of offense he or she has it is not moving. So committed. Then suspend or restrict entry into the campus for a specified period. All this also can be thought of. Yeah. Then expel and strike off name from the roles of the institution, including expel on strike off name of the from the roles of the institution, like attendance register or the whatever the employees register, including denial of readmission if the offense so warrants, depending on the nature of admission offense. Award reformative if it is a minor kind of a harassment or whatever. Reformative punishments like mandatory counseling. Okay, if it is we found that the student did not have proper kind of guidance at home or lacked that kind of one, should be given. And if it is that offense is of not very serious nature, then counseling can be suggested, or some performance of community service. The person may be asked to go and conduct some kind of one where gender sensitization or some kind of pro women empowerment activities can be carried out by the same person who has committed any kind of offense against women. So the accrued person is entitled to payment of compensation also, depending on whether it is employee, student, and so on. Though for the mental trauma or pain suffering that person has undergone, the loss of the career opportunity due to the incident, the medical expenses, the income and status of the alleged perpetrator and the survivor or the victim, the feasibility of such payment in lump sum or installments. Depending on all these things, the quantum of money to be paid should be decided, whether there is a loss of some monetary benefit for the person who is involved, whether it has medical expenses are involved, and trauma and mental kind of in the future also the person may incur some kind of one. Keeping all those things, the overall quantum of the compensation to be given should be decided, and depending on the persons, whoever has to pay that, the person offender, depending on that offender's capacity to pay, it may be paid in lump sum as a one kind of a settlement, or in installments. So that has to be there in the recommendations based on which the employer has to decide. Okay, so all that I have told you already about. So there has to be confidentiality throughout, and privacy has to be respected. Then duties of the employer to also provide a safe working condition, display the penal consequences both in the various prominent places, and constitution of ICC, who are the members of the presiding officer and members of the ICC, and that has to be both made available in the website if your college has a website, and also the act as well as regulations of the UGC has to, we will circulate a copy of it. It has to also should be there. And there are various other measures like conducting workshops, training, and all that also is part of some. And when it comes to, let's say there is a false, so all complaints need not be, and also monitoring and all that, which I have already told you. So sometimes it may so happen that there is a frivolous complaint, false complaint. There also, for such people also, ICC may suggest some kind of a punishment so that the person may not repeat such kind of stuff. So protection is there. All the men need not fear saying, okay, with this act and regulations, all of us are very vulnerable. No, it is only because of discrimination and this kind of practices which are there that a protective measure has been thought of for women. And even if men students, especially students are involved, then even they enjoy the protection, even persons of third gender enjoy protection, and no one need to feel insecure about anything. So this is a time for your questions and comments. I hope I was clear. I hope I was audible. Yeah. So now our IT cell system assistant, Mr. Santosh Rajput, who is assisting us, will unmute all of you. I request you to one by one to raise your hand and
Now the session is open for discussion. If anybody wants to add up the things or want to ask questions, they may raise your questions. Yes, they can raise your hands.
ಯಾರು ಇದ್ದೀರಿ? ಯಾರು ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? ಅನಿಲ್ ಅವ್ರು ಇದ್ದಾರಾ? ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾತಾಡಿ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಸ್.ಎನ್. ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
Sir. Thank you for your meeting, sir. I'm audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You are very audible.
Yeah. The main reason for the students is the social media and the movies. Especially they
Yes,
watch
sir.
the movies, and because of the movies, such things are happening. But we are taking
Right.
care of that. In our college, we have the internal committee, and we are taking care of all the things. We have our women's hostel
Excellent,
also,
sir.
sir. In the hostel also, we are very strict about this particularly, and therefore we have
Excellent.
the good contacts. Every staff member is
Yes.
in contact with the students, and
Yes,
see,
sir.
especially in our college, sir, more than 70% are girls. So we are
Yes,
taking
sir.
much care of the girls rather than taking care of the boys, because only 30% boys are there, and we are taking
Yes,
special
sir.
lecture for the lady students regarding all the issues, sir. And we don't
Yes,
have
sir.
any complaints as far as the sexual harassment cell is concerned. We have our motto. Actually,
Yes, sir.
our vision of the college is the women's empowerment, sir. And therefore we are taking much care of the girl students especially, and we are say prepared for this.
Okay.
Any things are happening, we are tackling, sir. No problem for us as for our college
Thank you, sir.
concerned. So
Thank you.
this is a
Thank you,
good
sir.
initiative for
Congratulations.
RCU.
Thank you.
I congratulate the CDC
Yes,
as
yes.
well as the Honorable Vice Chancellor taking good steps towards the sexual harassment, especially for women empowerment, sir. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. And also ICC, sir, Internal Complaints Committee of
Yeah,
Rani
yeah,
Channamma
yeah,
University.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dr. Manisha, Dr. Devta Agasti, Dr. Sushma, and others. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yeah, Salin Desai. Yes, sir. Please unmute and speak. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Audible, sir?
Yeah, you are very much audible, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
gave a very nice presentation regarding ICC and its redressal cell. My
Yes,
question is, the presiding of whatever the composition you said,
Yes,
the
sir.
presiding officer should be woman only, sir, compulsorily.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And that ICC and redressal both should be connected or different, sir? Sir.
Yeah, there is yes, there is a grievance redressal cell of a generic nature where all sorts of complaints can be received and so on. And
Okay.
even if they receive any complaint regarding sexual harassment, it should be transferred to ICC, Internal Complaints Committee, because this is
Okay.
exclusively to deal with the sexual harassment.
Okay, sir.
Even if there is a the grievance redressal cell or committee receives any complaint which is covered under the definition of sexual harassment, it should be transferred from them to the ICC, sir.
Achha.
ICC alone is authorized as per the Act and regulations is concerned.
What about the
deal with
redressal
this.
cell's composition, sir?
Redressal cell, I don't want to discuss at this point of time. We will circulate information to you, sir. But redressal cell has to be there for all sorts of complaints, all sorts of grievances to be one. So there the composition is not restricted to women, but women representation has to be there also. So but this is exclusively to deal with the sexual harassment related aspects, and not just dealing with complaints, but also to educate and to also have discussion and dialogue with the executive authority of the higher education, the principal, to help principal to implement various other measures in the regulations as well as the Act, sir.
Okay.
It is the responsibility of the ICC to see to it that, for example, if there is a website that both the Act as well as the UGC regulations is uploaded, the information regarding ICC, whoever is along with their contact details, is also mentioned in the website, and it is displayed in various prominent places. Then also the kind of the procedure to file a complaint. All that is also kind of should be there in the website, as well as should be displayed clearly. Standard format also may be prepared and circulated. So that way, all this enabling facilitating activity can be done by ICC, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Meghna.
Hello. Namaste.
Yes, madam. Namaste, madam.
Can anti-sexual harassment cell and ICC combinedly work, or they should separately work?
Separately. It's done separately.
They should
It is done
should
separately.
be separated, and officials should be also separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Girish, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, myself Girish Kulkarni from Athani College.
Sir.
Sir, is there any manual for ICC from the central government?
Any
manual?
Manual, yes, section report is there. We will share it. We will share it. From CDC will share it, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
To your college IDs.
Sir, one more thing, I just request you to any financial assistance from the central government for organizing the censor MCQ.
Yeah. When it comes to Ministry for Women and Child Development, for research as well as for organizing seminars, they have funding, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Anyone else? Okay. Chetan?
Sir.
Yeah, please. If you have any questions or comment, please make us.
Is it necessary or mandatory to have students in ICC compositions?
Yeah, lady students, ladies.
Okay.
No, not ladies. No, lady students.
Okay.
If complaint pertains to students, then only student representation for students have to be part of this one. Otherwise, for other things, they need not be. Because if it is relating to employees, then students need not be part of it, sir.
Yes, sir.
Need not be and should not be.
Yeah, because this news spreads too soon.
Students should be added only, invited only when student issues are being dealt with, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, namaste.
Namaste, sir.
Ajit Sanidhi, GFGC Raibag, sir.
Yes, sir. Sanidhi, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, please, we want to know something more about composition structures.
Yeah. Composition structure, what I will prepare one format for the order copies to be issued also, so that according to that you can ask your management to approve it, or principal is authorized, sir, to nominate and so on. So as I told you, there has to be a presiding officer, okay, and to each the kind of presiding officer, as I told you, has to be of associate professor level, or if it's not available, teacher faculty is not available, then you can go for the soon also the other administrative heads also from related organizations. So that is the presiding officer, the what we call as usually the chairperson or whatever. Comes to others, 2 faculty members and 2 non-teaching employees. There it can be some may be male and some may be female.
Yes, sir.
The overall composition, at least 1/2 of the total members. Like if it is a total number is 7, then at least 5 have to be women, ladies, since it is dealing with the sexual harassment, and mostly it is the women who are the aggrieved parties. Sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon,
madam.
sir. BLD
Yeah.
SB at KCP Science College, sir. I just want
Yes, ma'am.
clarification. We have this ICC anti-ragging cell and prevention of sexual harassment cell and grievance. Now, if there is any complaint regarding sexual harassment from any of these cells, has to go to the ICC. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah. Even if it is ragging involves anything which is covered under sexual harassment, then it has to be referred to ICC.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Ravi Dangi from Mahavir P. Mirchi College of Commerce, sir.
Yes, sir. Ravi, sir. Tell me, sir.
Sir, that one in composition, one member is there, no, other than organization. Is it preferably women?
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah.
Is there any qualification?
It has to be woman only, sir. It has to be from NGO. It has to be woman only.
Yes, sir.
Presiding officer has to be woman. NGO, it has to be woman.
Sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anyone else, sir?
Namaste.
Okay, thank you.
Myself, Girish.
Yeah, namaste, sir. Tell me, sir.
In NAC accreditation,
Yes,
they
sir.
are mandatory for maintaining the data for anti-ragging, anti-sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Then women's empowerment. And
Yeah.
It's all comes under ICC.
No. Only if it is relating to sexual harassment, the definition of sexual harassment, if it is covered under that, then only that is referred to ICC. ICC is clearly as per the Act, sir. So it has to be whatever is the responsibilities of ICC according to the Act has been adopted by the UGC and has been made part in the regulations, keeping in mind the campus and the nature of the activity and type of sexual harassment that is likely to take place in higher education institutions, both in the universities and in the colleges. So other things, the women empowerment or women development cell, for example, can think more in terms of education, more in terms of trying to doing things for gender sensitization and things of that sort. Whereas in addition to doing all those things, ICC has to deal with the complaints or the grievances of sexual harassment.
Completely sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Okay,
they can also conduct training programs and they have counseling services, all that they can directly, or they can suggest, and for counseling services they can also suggest some counselors also, or some employees, faculty themselves, both teaching and not teaching, they may be also trained in giving counseling services and all that. So that way they can do it. But dealing with the complaints part has to be exclusively done by the ICC alone. Sexual harassment complaints, registering complaints, and carrying out the inquiry, submitting the report and recommendations. All that has to be done exclusively by the ICC. Yeah. Yes. Yes, one at a time, please. Rupali, madam, you want to say
Hello.
something?
Sir. Okay, sir.
Something?
Sir.
For BPED college? Yes. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir,
tell me, madam.
Nowadays, yes, students are facing a lot of problems in USSMS, sir. UCMS.
Yeah. That is
joining in meeting.
Yeah.
Again, laptop. That's all.
BPED college, please. Can you unmute yourself? BPED.
Sir, like payment.
Rupali, madam, we understand that recently when the Minister, Higher Education Minister was here, even VC sir has spoken. It is we understand a lot of issues are there, even for the students as well as right from admission till examination. But it is all the universities are facing the problem, and our Vice Chancellor and Registrar are, especially whenever they are going to Bangalore, they are trying to represent. They are trying to address it, madam.
Is it comes under ICC?
This is no. This is not covered under ICC, madam.
Okay, sir. But a lot of problems are coming from.
We understand, madam. Yeah, all the students, irrespective of the gender of the students, everyone is facing that, madam. Yes,
sir.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And one more thing, sir. In our college, there is NCC and NSS also in it, sir. And
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
The members of ICC, we composed the Women Empowerment Cell convener and NSS, NCC, and as well as physical director, and one more is from anti-ragging and anti-sexual harassment. Sir,
No,
is it
no,
okay?
no, madam. That cannot be done. You can have for women empowerment, you can have, but women empowerment is a separate overall for education. But when it comes to ICC, it has to be done as per the regulations, which is based on the act, which is UGC's regulations will circulate, madam. Based on that alone, you do it.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, it will not be valid. Yes,
okay, sir.
yes, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Yes. Okay, so before concluding, I would like to inform and request all the principals, whoever has not, first
Excuse
of
me,
all, there
sir.
are two. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, madam.
ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಸುಶೀಲಾ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಸ್ಪಂದನದಿಂದ.
ಹಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
ನೀವು ಬಹುಶಃ ಹೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ನನ್ಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ICCಗಳು ಬಿಫೋರ್ 31st of January DC ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ಮೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಬಹುಶಃ
ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್.
ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್.
ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಸುಶೀಲಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇವನ್ ಸಕ್ಷಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಏನು ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ ಇದೆ, UGC ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವರು ಕೇಳಿದ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ, ಸಕ್ಷಮ್ ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗಳು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳದ್ದು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಾಲ್ರಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಮನವಿ ಇದೆ. ಎರಡು ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗಳಿದಾವೆ. ಒಂದು, ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಲವರು ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾಮಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ಅದರದ್ದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ತಿಳಿದಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂತವರು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಈಗ ನಾವೇನು UGCದ್ದು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀವಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ಗೆ ನೀವು 4 ಅಂತ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 4 ಒಳಗೆ ABCD ಈ ತರ ಸಬ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದಾವೆ, ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್, ತಮ್ಮ ಲೆಟರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕಾಪಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾರು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋರು, ಕೆಲವರು ಏನೋ ಅದು ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ, 3 years ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದರ ಕಾಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡಿಟಿ, 3 ವರ್ಷ ಮುಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಲವರು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಸರಿ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಈಗ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ NCC ಅವರು NSS ನಾವು ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಆ ತರ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪುನಃ ರೀಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು 2 ದಿವಸದ ಒಳಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ನೀವು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಏನು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಪ್ರೊಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೊಂದು ಜರಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ, ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿಗೆ ಒಂದು, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಅದೇ ತರ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಕ್ಶಾಪ್ ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಸುಶೀಲಾ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕರೆಸಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅಡ್ವೊಕೇಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳನ್ನ ಕರೆಸಿ ಅವರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬಾರಿ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಒಂದು 2-3 ಕಾಲೇಜ್ನವ್ರು ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣ ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರ್ಲಿ. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಗೆ 1 ವಾರದೊಳಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೀವು 1 ವಾರ ಬೇಡ, ಈ ಫ್ರೈಡೆ ಒಳಗೆ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಅದರ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ CDC ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ತರ ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೀವು ICC ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಆನ್ಯುವಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಇಯರ್ದೆಲ್ಲ DC ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಕ್ಷಮ್ ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಇದು 2 ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ಗಳು. ಮತ್ತೆ LIC ಅವರು ಬಂದಾಗ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನ ರೆಡಿ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಇದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲೆಟರ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದು, ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಇದರದ್ದು ಜಿಯೋ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ಡ್ ಫೋಟೋಸು, ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಯಾರು ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಫೋಟೋಸು, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್, ನೀವು ಏನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ICC, ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ICC ಯಾರು ಪ್ರಿಸೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು ICC ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು ಇಂಥದ್ದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ದು 13 ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಿ ಫೈನಲ್ ಡೇಟ್ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ ಫೈನಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 13, 14, 15ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಈ ನಡುವೆ ಏನು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿ ಕಮಿಟಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಈವನ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಇದ್ದು ಸೈನ್ಡ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕಾಪಿ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾನು ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ನಾಳೆ LIC ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗೋದಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ DC ಅವರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಮೊದಲೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತವೆ. ನಾಳೆ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೋರ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಪುನಃ ಇದು ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮಾಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದು, ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರೆಸ್ಟೀಜಿಯಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರುವಂತವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನವರು ಕೂಡ ದೇ ಮೇ ಕಮ್ ಡೌನ್ ಹೆವಿಲಿ ಆನ್ ಯು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಏನಾಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ನಾಳೆ ಪೇಪರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಾಗ ನೀವು ಇದು ICCನೇ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಅ ವೆರಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ದ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಆರ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ನನಗೆ ಈ ತರ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ನಾವು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೂ ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನ, ಆ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲೂ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಓದಿದಾಗ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಕೇಳಿದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಮೇಡಮ್ ನಿಮ್ದೇನು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಎಸ್, ಭಾಗ್ಯಶ್ರೀ ಪಟ್ಟಣ್ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವರ ನೀವು ಕೇಳೋದಿತ್ತ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಏನು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್? ಬೈ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು mic on aita. Okay, so I thank the organizers, especially the internal complaints committee, for having given me this opportunity to be the resource person. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಕಲಿಯಕ್ಕಂತ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಅವರು ನನಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಜುಕೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ನಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಕರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರೊಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರೆಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಸಾರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಕೆಲವರು ಕನ್ನಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇದ್ದವರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಧನ್ಯವಾದವನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ವೆರಿ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಲಿಸ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
So thank you, Professor Ashok.